So students, I will be discussing 25th problem. So here A and B Limited doing business in the same field decided to amalgamate to avoid unnecessary competitions. Following are the balance sheet. Look into all the assets that is given in the balance sheet, and then you have miscellaneous expenses. As you all know, this should be transferred to equity shareholders account. Then we'll move on to the liabilities. You have equity shares, 8% preference shares, 10% debentures, 8% debentures, reserve fund, profit and loss account, workman savings bank account, export profit reserve, and other liabilities. As you all know, workman savings bank account is statutory reserve. This is called a statutory reserve. Then you have let us discuss the other adjustments and find out whether it is purchase method or merger method. The amalgamation was effected on 1st April 2015. The purchase payable consideration payable by the new company AB Limited was as follows. So for A Limited, so these are the adjustments which are similar to the previous problem that I discussed, students. So equity shareholders to get one equity share of rupees 10 each in AB Limited, valued at rupees 12 per share for every equity share in A Limited. For every equity share means for every one share, how many shares are issued? That is, they are issuing one share. So for to get one equity share for every equity share. Therefore, find out for how many shares are there in the A Limited. How many shares are there in A Limited? 10 lakh divided by 10, 1 lakh. So for fund in A Limited, 10 lakh divided by 10, 1 lakh. So for 1 lakh, you have to calculate. And actually face value is rupees 10, but it is issued at a premium 12 per share. So 2 rupees is the premium. This is PC for equity shares. And similarly, 8% preference shareholders to get 10% preference shares in AB Limited equal to their claim. Look into the balance sheet. So what's the percentage of equity preference shares? 8% preference shares. So 8% preference shares is now converted into 10% preference shares. The amount remains the same. How much is the amount, students, here? 5 lakh. Actually, this is rupees 10. It should come here, okay? This is rupees 5 lakh is the preference share capital. So here PC is paid both in the form of equity shares and preference shares. And this is the 10% debentures and the interest calculation on debentures, which I have already discussed in the previous problem. So 10% debentures to get sufficient 12.5% debentures of AB Limited, so has to get the same amount of interest as they were getting in A Limited. So earlier itself I have discussed in the previous problem about the calculation of the debentures amount. Okay, so now what's the percentage? It is converted into 12.5%. That is 10% debentures are converted into 12.5%, but the rate of interest should remain the same. So look into the debentures, okay, of A Limited. So what is the percentage of debentures of A Limited? It is 10%. So calculate 5 lakh divided into 10%. It is 5,000. So in order to retain the same interest, okay, so the percentage of interest of debenture should be converted into. So this is regarding the calculation of debenture amount, wherein in the balance sheet they have given it as 10% debenture holders. What is the rate of interest? 10% on rupees 5 lakh. So here 10% debentures will be getting 12.5% debentures, but we have to retain the same amount of interest as I've already discussed in the previous problem. This adjustment also remains the same. So we have to retain the interest that the debenture holders were used to get earlier at 10%, and same interest will be getting when the debentures are converted into 12.5%. So I am going to show the calculation later on. So coming to B Limited, so here also PC calculation is the same. 4 equity shares of rupees 10 each in AB Limited, valued at 12 per share. Here the equity shares are paid at 2 rupees premium. So for every how many shares? 5 shares. So for every 5 shares, 4 shares are issued. So calculate for number of shares held by B company. 8% preference shareholders to get 90% of their claim in 10% preference shares in AB Limited in full satisfaction. Look into the balance sheet. What is the percentage of balance sheet? So 8%. So 8% the preference shares are converted into converted into 8% only. But the thing is, The amount payable to debenture preference shareholders is rupees 3 lakh, but they are paying only 90%. So 90% of 3 lakh, you will get 2,70,000. So this 30,000 is the profit made by the company, which will be shown in realization account by preference shareholders account. So again here also they have given you the calculation of debentures. So 8% debenture holders to get sufficient 12.5% debentures of AB Limited, so has to get the same amount of interest as they were getting in B Limited. So similar to the calculation which I have already discussed in my previous problem. Along with that, you have additional information. AB Limited took over all the assets and liabilities of both the companies at their book values except land and building, plant and machinery and stock of A Limited. So which means that except land and building, plant and machinery and stock of A Limited, all other assets will be taken over at book value, remaining assets, which means that this land and building, then you have plant and machinery and stock is valued at this amount. So an investment of B Limited at rupees 16,000, which means that in case of B Limited, all other assets except investments are taken over at book value. So these are the changes which you have to incorporate in opening entries and also in balance sheet. So liquidation expenses of A Limited came to rupees 13,000 and B Limited is rupees 9,000. So this is the expenses paid by transferor company. So the journal entry will be realization account data to cash or bank account. So this is another new adjustment in this problem. Balance of cash and bank were transferred to AB Limited. So let us come to the balance sheet. So how much is the cash balance of A Limited and B Limited? 74,000 and 38,000. So in this 74,000 and 38,000, you have to deduct the realization expenses of 13,000 of A Limited and 9,000 of B Limited. And remaining should be transferred to realization account. So here is the calculation. Look here. So this is the cash and bank balance of A Limited and B Limited. So less amount required for meeting liquidation expenses. How much? 13,000 and 9,000. So how much is the balance remaining here? In A Limited 61,000 and B Limited 29,000. So same thing is incorporated in the realization account. So to cash or bank account 61,000 and this is the realization expenses. So same way you have to incorporate even in the books of transferor company. See, to cash or bank account 29,000 and realization expenses 9,000. This point you have to remember. Then the authorized capital. So as I told you, this you have to show it in the balance sheet. Equity shares rupees 10 each and 1 lakh 10% preference shares of rupees 10 each. So authorized capital include equity share capital and preference share capital. So as I have already discussed, export profit reserve is a statutory reserve, so which will be maintained for 3 more years. So for this we have to pass extra additional journal entry. So prepare PC statements, close the books of A Limited and B Limited and prepare opening balance sheet of AP Limited under amalgamation in the nature of purchase. So this is regarding the PC calculation. I have already discussed, students. Okay, go through this, and this is regarding discharge of PC. And you are supposed to prepare realization account, purchasing company account, 8% preference share account, equity shareholders account, cash and bank account. And then similarly in the books of B Limited, prepare realization account. Here you note down that that is for the preference shareholders you are paying only 2,70,000 and then the 30,000 will be the profit. This is rupees 3 lakh. There are some mistakes in the solution in the textbook. Please do note down the mistakes. So then you have to prepare purchasing company account, then 8% preference shareholders account, equity shareholders account and cash and bank account. And this is with regarding to the balance of cash which I have already discussed earlier. And this is regarding the debentures which I have already discussed the calculation of debentures in the previous problem. Do follow the same procedure. I am going to send you the photocopy. Then here is the balance sheet. So this is for the PC due. You incorporate all the items of assets and liabilities taken over. So these are the various journal entries that appear in the books of transferee company. So I am not going to discuss in detail. So the next one you have is the balance sheet. So balance sheet also you are supposed to prepare. You just go through all the items given in the balance sheet here, students. So here you make a corrections. So there is a printing mistake. It is 3,89,000 and here 5,64,000. I am going to send you the photocopy of this. Thank you.